Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude, and it is shoe review time, and we're going to be reviewing the Asics Gel Nimbus 23. This shoe here landed in my office around 6 weeks ago. I've taken it out for a good 6 runs so far, and I've got some pretty interesting thoughts on this shoe through here. So much so, we're going to be talking about the engineering changes from the 22 to the 23. We're actually going to throw in the Nimbus Lite 2 as well, just to show the subtle changes between Nimbus Lite version 2 and the 23, so you are making the right choice at home with your shoe selection, because they are high mileage shoes. They're targeting a neutral foot type, but in my opinion, they are specifically targeting a different runner, which we'll get into in today's review. And like all my shoe reviews, what we'll be doing is we're going to be also profiling the running foot shape or foot structure that should be considering the Nimbus Lite 23s. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Cool, so first things first, let's talk about the foot shape or foot type that could be considering or should be considering the Nimbus 23. So it is a neutral running shoe. So what that technically means, like my previous shoe reviews, I get my little foot model through here and we have got a high arch, a little bit of real estate between the arch and the ground through there. And when this runner comes through their gait transition, he'll strike first through the mid stance. Pressure will either be through the central part of the foot, or there'll be a little bit of a tendency just to favour that lateral side. So underpronate or supinate as they go through their mid stance phase before they get through to their toe off phase of their gait cycle. So neutral to a mildly underpronated foot type should be considering the Nimbus 23. All right, let's get stuck into the tech features of this shoe, because there's quite a bit to get through. Let's start off with the outsole. Let's go from the ground and work our way up. So the outsole for me is probably my favorite change with this shoe. Now that's a bit strange because usually there's not a lot going on with outsoles that gets me excited, but this generally does. And let me tell you why. Holding the Nimbus 22 in my hand through here. So this shoe here, for me, when it went from the 21 to the 22, I was super excited because what Asics did was they decided to make the shoe more flexible through the forefoot, so that underpronated or supinated foot type could comfortably run in the 22s if they're a heel striker and experience a nice, smooth, flexible toe off. However, having that truss system through here, it provided ample torsional stability for this shoe because it needed it, because the cushioning was a little bit softer than for the previous versions. So that certainly played a critical role. However, when you look at the 23, and please excuse, they are a little bit dirty, they are mine, I've used them, but you can see through there, we're almost getting towards that full ground contact. So on that medial side through there, there is a bit of torsional stability on offer. However, it is plush with the ground. So you're getting almost that full ground contact feel underneath your foot in comparison to the 22 through here, which that torsional stability is almost set a little bit higher into the midsole. In terms of the feel underneath the foot, I wouldn't say that I felt where that was positioned versus where that's positioned. I'm just liking what Asics are doing with regards to their full ground contact push with the Nimbus 23. It's fantastic. And also looking at the outsole configuration, you can see that the amount of flex grooves on offer is almost the same. So with the Nimbus 22, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 23, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. The only real difference is the actual depth of flex grooves. So it is cut a little bit deeper into the shoe in the 22 through there. So the actual cutaway into the midsole is certainly more noticeable in this shoe, and the rubber is a little bit thicker versus the rubber on the Nimbus 23. So the actual flex groove cutaway into the midsole isn't quite as noticeable, but the rubber is thinner. So in theory, what you're going to get is a pretty similar flex groove through that forefoot. And obviously the entry point for the 23, it is designed for heel striker. So you've got your AHAR rubber at the back of the heel through here. So you can see what was a fluorescent green color, but that green color rubber through there is a harder carbon rubber. So it is more dense. It's obviously designed for a heel striker, so it's going to be a harder wearing for that first entry point. And as you come through, all the other rubber as you go through the forefoot is the same compound. I just want to hold up now the Nimbus Lite next to the 23 through here. So straight away you can see the Nimbus Lite has more surface area. So what that essentially means is it is designed for more of a midfoot runner. So a midfoot runner is going to land through here like so. So when that runner makes contact with the ground, having a little bit more real estate through the midsection, and the forefoot is going to offer a more stable, secure landing platform as they engage to get ready to toe off. This shoe here is designed for the heel striker. So when they make contact with the ground through there, that impact force that goes through the shoe and then through deceleration phase, the actual width of the shoe doesn't need to be as broad through here. That's what Asics have done, and that's why they haven't made it as wide as the Nimbus Lite version 2. Now, if they made it wide through here, what it's going to do, it's going to add weight unnecessarily to this shoe. So they want to keep it as light as they possibly can, but obviously still offer ample cushioning and support for that targeted consumer, being that neutral to supinated heel striking runner. Okay, let's get talking about the midsole. You've got two gel pods. You've got the gel cushioning through the heel, which is strategically placed for that heel striker through the back half of the shoe. And then we've got twist gel on offer through here, which sits just under your big toe through the forefoot to offer a little bit of extra cushioning and support as you transition through your toe off. The shoe itself is built on that flight foam material. So the flight foam cushioning system from Asics is a very nice, light but plush cushioning system, and it is on the same heel to toe drop as it was last year. So that's a 25-15 for the men's and a 27-14 for the ladies. So 10mm offset for the men's and a 13 for the ladies. Now that is no different from last season, and it is exactly the same as the Nimbus Lite version 2 as well. So pretty consistent with regards to the execution of their midsole. All right, let's talk all things upper. So internal heel structure at the back through here. That means there's a plastic support system that sits on the inside of that heel counter, which provides nice amount of support, structure and integrity for that runner that comes down heel first. So you don't want that heel moving around on the platform, hence that internal heel counter will stay nice and secure. As you come through to the midfoot, if anything, it's probably a little bit shallower than the previous version, which is kind of a good thing. Just provide a little bit more support and structure on top of the foot. And the engineered mesh, as you come through to the front half, breathes the same as what I found with the 22. So there's essentially very similar fit and feel with both uppers. However, if anything, this heel counter on the 22 was kind of firm in the back for me. I found it pretty comfortable, but I certainly knew I was locked in with this shoe through here. However, from a comfort perspective, I really liked what the 23 did for me. Around the back of that heel counter through here, I just found that I could really dial in and lock in my laces as I saw fit, depending on the sock I was using at the time. So the fit of the 23 heel counter is a little bit better in my opinion, and I sort of liked a little bit of extra depth through the midfoot as well through here. But the execution in regards to the materials used, the breathability in the upper, Asics have really nailed the upper on the 23. So yeah, kudos to Asics through there. Okay, touching on the widths as well, because that's really important. In the men's, we've got a D, which is a standard width through here, 2E and 4E, so 3 widths on offer from Asics, which is fantastic. And in the ladies, they've got 2 widths. They've got standard width B, and then they have a D width on offer as well. I love it when brands have a premium shoe and they do manufacture multiple widths. It just means they care and they want to get their shoe onto as many runners' feet as they possibly can. So yeah, well done Asics for really going out on a limb and producing, yet again, a variety of widths in your key high mileage running shoe. Okay, so while we're talking all things midsole in the Nimbus 23, I'm just going to go through essentially the changes with regards to Nimbus 22 and Nimbus Lite version 1 and Nimbus Lite version 2 and Nimbus 23. Hopefully it doesn't confuse you at home. But when we look at the midsole setup of the Nimbus 22s and the Nimbus Lite version 1, apart from the fact this has the gel pod placed in the heel and that little torsional stability system through here, the actual midsole itself is the same with regards to the execution of the flight foam, almost those little subtle details with regards to the grooves that they've cut away into that midsole and essentially the weight of the midsole. So it is exactly the same materials, just the fact that they have used gel cushioning, external gel cushioning in the 22 and that torsional stability system through here as well to provide a little bit more rigidity on offer for heel strikers. But Asics had a little bit more time maybe, or money, who knows what it is. But the actual midsoles from the Nimbus Lite 2 and the Nimbus 23 is different. So there's essentially the same density of flight foam, but you can see strategically the amount of real estate underneath the foot, so a wider platform in the Nimbus Lite 2 versus the Nimbus 23s. And that little cutaway through here, that region through here, which is essentially providing a slightly smoother transition for that midfoot striker inside the Nimbus Lite 2, and the almost full ground contact setup with the Nimbus 23s, and that little torsional stability, which is more closer to the ground now. So it's an interesting fact because it's kind of evident when they're making their first version of something that they want to use some tooling, which they have here on offer. They just change a couple of iterations or major factors of the shoe itself, being the exposed gel cushioning and no torsional stability. So there's a lot of similarities between these two, although targeting different runners. However, targeting different runners again, but some variances with regards to the execution of the outsole and the midsole through here. So that's just important to note. All right, guys, wrapping up the Nimbus 23. Essentially, it is a big change with regards to the execution of this shoe. I love what they've done with that almost full ground contact setup through here. So the torsional stability system coming closer to the ground. It feels nice and plush underneath the ground. We're not denying that. This is a highly cushioned neutral running shoe from Asics. It's been an absolute gem for the best part of 23 years, of course. I'm not going to lie to you, there's been a few misses along the way, like all brands, but the 23 is essentially taking this key shoe and putting it at the top of their mantelpiece. It is a very, very comfortable high mileage running shoe. If you have any questions on the Nimbus 23, please drop it in the comments field below. If you've tried it, you've ran it, we'd love to hear your feedback on that shoe. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the red button down below, and we will continue to bring as much running shoe reviews as we possibly can to you at home. And until next time, stay safe, happy running, and we'll see you on the road. Take care, everyone.